Welcome to T
and E
with the T. I'm your host, Teresa.
I'm your co-host, Edwin.
Okay, so now the topic for today, baby, is Ash Trevino. You know who Ash Trevino is?
No.
I've told you about her a few times.
I forget.
It's the inmate hopper.
That's in the inmate?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she is known as the inmate hopper.
Okay.
But basically, Ash Trevino, she is like the star of TikTok. Do I even say that she's the star? Well, basically, she's known as the inmate hopper. She's also known as a really bad mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess we can start off with a little bit backstory about her. But she became a mom when she was 20. So she has two girls. She has, I think she's like 13 and the other one's like 15, 16 years old. So they're still young. But anyways, her name is Ash Trevino, and I think she lives in Texas or something like that. So she got on TikTok like early when it was like a thing, like earlier on. I don't know when TikTok happened.
I think TikTok happened. I remember some of my friends were on TikTok. I think it might have been like pre-COVID.
Yeah, because I think TikTok was Musical.ly, no?
Yeah, I think so, maybe, yeah.
TikTok, it was Musical.ly first, and then it became TikTok.
Yeah.
Because people were doing like I'm covering my face, but like, you know how they like would do like moves with the camera? Those type of things. With the camera, and they would dance?
Yeah.
So that was Musical.ly, and then it became TikTok. Right? I don't know. I'm just guessing. I didn't do my research on that one.
But what about the Ash Trevino?
Sorry. Let's get back to the story. Okay, so what happened was, so Ash Trevino, she got famous on TikTok because she started going on lives. I'm not sure how she started going on lives because I think you need like a big following, no?
I think you only had to, I think you had to have like, I don't know, you had to have like 1,000 followers or something like that.
Oh, well,
like
I don't know.
2,000, something like that, not too many.
Well, I'm not sure how many followers she had at the time, but she was able to go on live. And so she started talking about like the inmates that she was dating and then all this stuff. So, she was married to this guy that was an inmate. Like, this was her first, well, not her first husband, but her first inmate. Because she had the dad of her kids passed away. So she ended up divorcing him before he passed. But she ended up marrying this other guy. This guy, she's known since she was like, I think, 18 years old. And he was 15. 13.
What?
He was 13 years old and she was 18. And so she said, she would tell like that boy's mom, I'm gonna be your, what is it called? When you're the
baby mama.
No. When you're like, what am I to your mom? And we get married.
No, it's like a nuera,
What's
no?
it called? Yeah, but in English. Oh my God, what is it called?
Daughter-in-law?
Yeah. She said, I'm gonna be your daughter-in-law. Did you fart? I heard it. It's okay, we'll cut this off. Anyways, I'm
You're rambling a lot.
I am. I'm trying to get to the point. Okay, so basically, I'm trying to tell you who she is. Mm-hmm. So she ended up marrying this inmate that was basically he was a lot younger than her, right? So fast forward, she has all this drama going on TikTok because everybody's like, why are you dating these inmates? Like, what is going on? Like, what is your problem? Like, why do you have such a fantasy or like this love for inmates? And it would be to the point where she even talked about the inmates and what they did. So like there was a guy that she was talking to that was an inmate, and he had killed 2 people. And she was like going on live and like making fun of it and stuff like that, and people were like hating on her for it. And then they call her a bad mom because both her kids don't have beds in their rooms.
How did they find that out?
Well, because they said it. They would say it.
The kids?
Mm-hmm. They would just be like, oh, we just have a mattress. Mm-hmm. So, and then when she's over here, she has a whole bed frame and everything. But whatever. And then when people start saying like, oh, you're a bad mom, she's like, I'm not a bad mom. Like, she can never own up to her what is it called? Her problems. Basically, she can never say she was wrong. She's wrong, or she can't say that she's a bad mom or she's ever been a bad mom. But she's been on live and stated that when she was with her husband before, I think his name was Jesse. I might be wrong, but whatever. Her husband before, they had, like, her kids were little, and the oldest one, Haley, she would pull her hair because the dad, she would say that her husband at the time loved the girl Haley more than Ash Trevino. So she would bully her daughter, her Haley. What's it called? Yeah, she would bully her, basically.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, so fast forward. She then later on met this guy named Santos. I don't know if you remember him, but I would talk to you a little bit about the situation. But she met this guy named Santos. Santos was a guy that her daughter, I think her oldest one or the youngest, I'm not sure, but one of the daughters had a crush on him. So, sorry, Ash Trevino's 36, right? She's 36 now. Santos, come to find out, he's 19. And she just recently stated that she's done things with him. And he's 19. That's nasty, you know? I mean, to me it is. Anyways, whatever they decide. But, so yeah, so basically she was doing that. She met Santos. She started talking to him. And then he started showing up in the lives. And then he started talking about, like, they ended up making a song called, I don't know if I can say it, but it's basically, she's like, do you want to know how it smells? As Santos. You know it smell well. Basically, she's talking about, yeah. So yeah, so basically they made a song and it was going viral and she was just going famous for that, right? But then people started finding out that he was 19 because at the time he was saying that he was 23. But he was 19 because the police ended up coming to Ash Trevino's house and they were all drinking because somebody called the cops on the live. And they were all drinking, and since they're underage, that's when they found out that he was 19 years old. And if they found everybody found out on live. Anyways, so fast forward, she ended up stop hanging out with Santos because of the fact that he was starting to act very weird and everybody hated him because he was acting like he was her manager and all this stuff, and she would always call him up, but then later on she would be talking bad about him on live, and then it was just all this drama. So she ended up stop hanging out with Santos, and Santos wasn't in the lives anymore or whatever. And then she was talking to this girl.
So it was Santos' decision to break up with her?
They weren't together. They were just like the thing because he was basically, my opinion, he was just clout chasing. He was just trying to get famous off of her because she was getting big. So I think he was smart and ended up, trying to talk to her. And she over here believing it. Anyways. Sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath. It's because I'm talking way too much.
You need to talk more relaxed.
It's because there's so much.
It's just okay.
I know, but there's just so much information to talk about Ash Trevino. And you get you fall into this hole, this black hole with a bunch of information. And it's like having to talk about all of that. It's crazy. Anyways, so far, what do you think?
It's pretty crazy. It's I don't know how somebody, I don't know, you know, why people think some things are right to do.
Okay.
Yeah, or they're like, I don't care, or forget what everybody says.
Yeah.
There's people that look up to you. Like her children probably look up to her.
But I feel like those people don't really understand that what they're doing is not okay.
Yeah. I don't know. They're all like, it's my life. I get to choose whatever I want. Yeah. But you also get to pay the consequences.
No, I mean, yeah, but what's sad is that she has two daughters and they're still young. Like, they're not adults. They're still young. And she's like, my kids are grown. And I'm like, but they're still young. Like, they can't support themselves. They can't even get they can't even get a job. Like, whatever. And then she always eats, like, hot Cheetos and bean dip.
Ew. and Santos says it smells good.
No, she asked if do you want to know how it smells?
Spicy.
Ew. No, I don't know if he's ever came out. I don't know if he's ever came out to say anything, but I don't know. That's all she eats. Bebe, that's nasty.
You can't put that in there. Cut.
Okay. Well, listen. What was I at? I forgot. What were we talking about?
What do I think about that? And I was saying, you were talking about her kids, how her kids are grown.
Okay, yeah. So her kids are grown. They're not little kids, so they still need to be taken care of to a certain extent, right? But anyways, fast forward. She recently just got onto a podcast. Mm-hmm. It's the Bop House podcast.
Bop what?
The Bop House.
If you had to sum it up in 30 seconds, how would you sum it up?
Sum up what?
The Bop House. Basically,
they're just a bunch of young adults that are doing OnlyFans, and this is their house. Mm-hmm. So all I know is the host is Camila. She is one of the girls that does OnlyFans. But basically, this whole house is just young adults, basically from 19 to like 23. They all do OnlyFans. They make so much money. One of the girls in 1 month made $1 million. In 1 month. In a whole year, she makes around $40 to $50 million. What am I? No, I'm joking. But anyways, so she makes a lot of money, or they make a lot of money. But anyways, that doesn't matter. That's not the point. So the host is Camila. She's 23, and she had asked Astravino to be on the podcast. Astravino agreed. Camila ends up buying her flight, and her and her daughters first class plane tickets, and she also got them a room at the Ritz-Carlton? Yeah. I don't know, I'm not rich. What is it called?
Ritz-Carlton? I don't know.
Something like that. It's one of like the nice hotels. So she got her to stay there in Miami, Florida. So she paid for all of that. Camila did. And she gets on the podcast. She doesn't pay her for the podcast part. She doesn't pay her to be on the podcast. She just pays her to get to fly there, and she pays her to stay in the hotel, to where to stay. I think for like maybe 3 days. I think that's how much. I'm assuming. I don't remember. But so yeah. So would you be okay with her if you were Astravino, and she was like, I'll pay for your plane tickets and I'll pay for your stay for 3 days, right? And then you'll be on the podcast, and we'll upload videos and stuff together so that you can, still be seen,
trending.
Yeah. Would you be okay with still getting all that for basically for free and not being paid for the podcast?
I think depends on my value and what I am.
You're Astravino.
I don't really know, but I would kind of be okay with it, I guess. Yeah, think you could start off like that and then later get paid or something.
Or say you're Camila and you pay somebody for, you know, the stay and their flight. Would you pay them for their time on the podcast?
I mean, if I'm making $40 to $50 million.
No, she's not the one. She's not the one that makes that much.
Does she make that much money?
She makes a good amount, but she's not the one that makes that much.
Mm.
But would you still pay her for the podcast?
To be honest, I'm a businessman, so like I have to know more information about that. But I don't think I'll pay for her stay.
Okay, you wouldn't pay for her stay?
No, I wouldn't pay for
to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so she got on the podcast. They ended up doing videos, and she ended up paying for their flight and stay or whatever, first class, Ritz-Carlton, one of the highest, most expensive ones. And she gets on the podcast. Camila asks questions about basically everything that she's been viral about. So like the MA Hopper, how her kids don't have beds, how Santos like was 19 and she was talking to him, basically those type of questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, Ash Trevino seemed cool. She was laughing, she was like having a good time, she was answering these questions like if it was just, you know, nothing, like if it was normal. And she just seemed like she was having a good time. Her daughters were also there, were also on the podcast. So they were also talking not about the everything else, but Camila had kind of put them in another room after they had their, you know, their interview together, and then she sent them away, the girls, and she just talked to Ash Trevino about more of the sexual stuff, right? So yeah, so that's what she was talking about with her, and everything was cool. Nothing was bad. Camila did seem like she was a little bit pushy with the questions. And she was in a way kind of making fun of her. Not even laughing with, you know, when people laugh at you, you think they're laughing with you, but they're actually laughing at you. That's what she was doing. She was laughing at her. She wasn't laughing with her.
Camila?
And Ash Trevino was thinking that she was laughing with her, right? That wasn't the case. So yeah, she was asking those questions and whatever. She also brought up the fact that, you know, the beds, and she said that she would pay for the beds. And she wanted a dresser, she wanted a bed frame, she wanted all this stuff, right? And she's like, I'll buy it, you know, because, you know, it seems like you can't buy it, I'll buy it. And before you leave here, I'll buy it. Just let me know, like, what they want. She said that on the podcast. And then after the podcast, Ash Trevino had went on live, stated that she had a really good time. She said that Camila was really nice. She was very attentive. She was very welcoming and all this stuff, right? And everything was cool. And later on, I think I missed a part. So she was talking to this guy named Max, right? Mm-hmm. Max was 23 years old. He's Mexican. He looks white, but he's Mexican. And because I heard him speak fluent Spanish, and I was like, oh. And he also said on the podcast that he was Mexican. But anyways, because Ash Trevino calls Max, and Camila kind of puts them on the spot, saying like, oh, if you're going to be like her boyfriend, you should be paying for her daughter's, you know, beds. And then he was like, oh, Camila, I was waiting for you to do that. And she's like, do I look like her man? Anyways, but whatever. Fast forward. I just forgot the part. She was still talking to Max at that time after the podcast and everything. Max is very, like, he doesn't like to be in front of not in front of the camera. He goes live and stuff like that, but he doesn't like to be talked about in that sense. But supposedly, I don't know if this is true, but he actually liked Ash Trevino and really wanted to get to know her and was going to meet her soon and stuff like that. Like, he genuinely wanted to get to know this girl. Like, he was like, yeah, that one is the one. I want her. Like, that's how he was acting. But I really think it was just for clout. But that's just my opinion. But he was like, no, I just don't like to be, like talked about in that type of way. So he doesn't like that. And then he already told her in the beginning when they were talking that he didn't like that, right? And then she goes on and calls him on the podcast. That's important. So then fast forward, she's all cool, she's all fine, and everything is good, dancey, whatever. Camila posts the podcast. So the podcast was posted, everybody was talking about it, and then clips went around TikTok and everything like that, calling Asherino a bad mom, and that Asherino thought that Camila was laughing with her, but she was laughing at her, and she didn't understand that, like, those type of questions, like, she was basically, Asherino was basically putting herself in a bigger hole. Kind of, I think Camila gave her the opportunity to answer those questions a little bit different, but what she did was make it worse. So everybody was talking about her, and everybody was saying like she's a bad mom and that she's just not a good person and all this stuff. Ash Trevino saw those comments and started reacting on it, and she was like, Camila, I mean, if I would have known that, Camila was going to do it that way, or she was going to ask those questions, I wouldn't have done the podcast. When a couple days later, she was like, I had so much fun. The podcast was really nice. It was really good. It went really well. You're only saying that because people are starting to, talk bad about you now. And it's your fault. But yeah, so she basically was saying that it was Camila's fault. And then I don't know how, but, and then Ash Trevino was starting talking about Camila and that she was a horrible person and that she did this on purpose and that she was only doing this for the money and for the clout and she didn't even pay me. She's like, if I would have known that she was going to be making me look like this, then I would have asked for payment. She's like, I heard that Camila made $60,000 for the podcast. And she's like, and I didn't get nothing, right? So then Camila goes on live. Oh no, I think she posted a video on TikTok. She posted a video on TikTok and she goes, so Ash Trevino, you're talking about me or whatever, and you're saying that, because now Ash Trevino doesn't want her to buy the kids the beds. She's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't want you to buy the beds if you're going to be talking about me like that or whatever. So Camila does the video and she's like, you only don't want me to buy the beds because, you made yourself look bad. It wasn't me. Like, that was all you. And she's like, and then you said that you heard that I made $60,000 on the podcast. She's like, that's crazy because I made more. And she laughs and then she's like, so if you think that I was like basically saying like if you think that I was the one that made you look bad, it wasn't me. It was all you. And then you can go F yourself. Mm-hmm.
Just like that?
Yes, that's what she says in the end. That's what she said. And so Ash Trevino keeps talking about the podcast and keeps talking about the Bop House, and she's like, half of those girls in the Bop House are not even pretty. And then she said that before Camila made that video. Mm-hmm. Camila was like, and she's like, well, what's my favorite clip? When she says that half of the girls in the Bop House are not even cute. Camila is like, what's funny is that she looks at the picture. She's like, you're over here talking about everybody's looks, but look at the way you look. And then she like goes like slides. She shows her phone and she shows pictures of Ash Trevino. She's not wrong. But I'm sorry, but she's not pretty. I'm sorry, that's really mean. And Ash Trevino is all mad because now she lost her boyfriend too. Oh yeah, so she lost her boyfriend after her Max, right? The guy that's Hispanic and 23 years old. So she lost him because of the podcast. Because he was in the podcast and then he was like, I told you that I didn't like it. The attention like that, like I didn't want to be seen that way. He's like, so I think we're just gonna end this.
And this is recent?
Well, this was like a few days ago.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I watched the whole podcast. Anyways, so yeah, I think that was like maybe a week ago. I don't know, but it was recent. So she basically loses her boyfriend Max, a 23-year-old, which is crazy because she's 36. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna judge. So yeah, she loses her boyfriend. She basically loses her reputation. Well, even her reputation wasn't even good anyways, but it was even worse now. So now she's being even made fun of even more, and she don't like that. And then she also loses her only friend on social media, which her name is Hefa, because
Heffa?
Hefa, because she started talking about Hefa too. She started saying like Hefa, oh, because during the time when she was in Miami, Hefa supposedly stole one of her gifters. So on TikTok they gift you like gifts, and like that you're able to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And he well, whatever, but you're able to make money, and that he was her biggest gifter. And Hefa got no Hefa, yeah, Hefa, when they were battling together, her and Ash Trevino, when they were battling, that guy ended up gifting Hefa because she was in podium, which I don't even know what that means, but basically she was almost in podium, and she was about to get ranked to the top, and that's Ash Trevino's biggest gifter. And so Ash Trevino saw that, and she started crying on live. She started crying on live, and she ended the live with Hefa, and she basically said that Hefa was messed up for doing that. Like, why would you steal my gifter? Because that's the only way that I get like income, and that's the only way I can raise my kids, because I go on live and I get like these gifts, and I don't have another job, and I'm a single mom. And she's like, and I have a husband, and you guys have a company, and you know you don't need this money really, and I do. And like, why would you steal my gifter? Which I think is crazy, because how did she steal her gifter when the gifter wanted to gift her? Anyways, so she got mad.
Mm-hmm.
How would you feel if you were Ash Trevino and Hefa was your friend, and you guys were battling, and your biggest gifter ended up gifting her, and she ended up winning? Would you get mad?
Not, not mad, but resentido, I guess.
But would you get mad at Hefa, or would you get mad at the gifter?
You're mad at the gifter.
Well, I mean, like, at the end of the day, you can't really control who gifts what,
Yeah,
you know?
it's up to the gifter.
Yeah, so I thought it was crazy that she got mad at Hefa. I thought it was insane. Why are you yawning?
I wonder if all of this is authentic.
Oh, I think it is.
You think it is?
Yeah,
Why do you think?
because it's crazy to me if Ash Trevino would be making a whole character, because that whole character, she's on live. It's not like she makes videos. She's on live, and she's herself, because she be eating hot Cheetos with bean dip all the time, and
Oh,
it just shows like her real character,
we should
especially
try it.
I heard it was good.
Really?
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. It's really weird. It's Frito bean dip. Frito's bean dip. So what were you saying?
Yeah, the authenticity of it. Well, you do have a point, because they are on live, and you would just have to like put that mask on.
And then her kids are there too. It's not like her. Why are you yawning?
I don't know. I just thought about it, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm yawning. Let me hide it."
Yeah, and then her kids are there too, and her kids seem very authentic, and they kind of like the oldest one they recently got in a fight, her and her daughter, and it was all on live. Like, she was like calling her out on live, like Ash Trevino was calling out her daughter on live. That's your daughter. Like, why are you calling her out on live? And then her daughter was like, when I turn 18, I'm gonna spill all the tea. I can't wait. That's 2 years from now. 3, 2, whatever. But so yeah, so fast forward, she ends up losing Hefa. She ends up losing Max. She now looks like the clown, bigger than what she was before. She looks like a bigger clown now. And yeah, Camila came out and was like saying, she went on live and she was stating like, that I wouldn't have paid her for the podcast. Like that was her fault. Like if she would have told me, like she could have told me, hey, I want to get paid for the podcast, but she didn't tell me nothing. So she's like, 'cause I didn't pay her, and I wasn't gonna pay her anyways. That's what she said. She's like, I paid for your flight and I paid for your stay, and Asherina had the audacity to ask her. She wanted to stay for another night, but she just wanted to change her flight date, and that's free. To change the flight date, it's free. That's what she said. I don't know. She said it was free. That's what Camila said. But then she was like, "Oh, Asherina was like, no." Camila was like, "Yeah, that's fine. You can change the flight date to the next day if you want to stay one more day." But she didn't ask about the hotel, about staying at the hotel one more day. Camila was thinking, oh, she's gonna get an Airbnb, like, she's gonna get her own place. Like, I'm not gonna pay for the hotel. Like, why? Just so you can stay for one more day. But Asherina was like, oh my god, thank you so much for letting us stay one more day. And she's like, whoa, like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, I'll pay for the one more day for the hotel. She's like, this is how much it was. And then Camila was like, okay, well, I can send you the money, like. And she's like, okay. I was like, that's crazy. She really has the audacity to be like, oh, just like not even ask her about staying, just ask her about changing the date, and then she'd be like, okay, this is how much it is for the hotel. What would you be? What would you do if you were Camila?
Nah. Mm-mm.
If you're Camila in the situation,
but like, I'm sorry, like,
but
I'll change your flight. I feel like those things you have to tell them then and there. Like, I'll change your flight, but you have to pay the stay yourself. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, but I think she didn't think that she was gonna do that. Like, I guess she thought that she was gonna get an Airbnb or stay somewhere else because all she asked was about the flight, and then later on she goes, "Oh, it was this much for the hotel to stay another day."
When what I've known from working with people, you gotta mention everything.
Yeah.
You gotta make it like a 2-year-old can do it. You know what I mean? Because everybody has different mindsets, different perspectives, different moralities.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. She had the audacity to do that. But anyways, so yeah. So she ended up staying another day. Camila ended up sending her the money because she was like, I don't want to fight with this girl. So she's like, I just sent her the money. She's like, it's $1,000. I make more. So she's like, it don't matter. Which I think is crazy. Anyways, because Camila, well, I guess a little bit story. This is off track, but off the topic. But Camila, she went on a podcast or on some video. She stated that she has like someone that works. You're yawning again. She stated that she has someone that looks at her bank account and looks at how much money she makes and stuff like that. She doesn't know how much money she makes. She doesn't know how much money she has. She doesn't know how much money is going where, what. She doesn't know. She trusts this person enough to do that, right? All she has to do is she has to ask him, hey, can I buy this? He'd be like, yeah, you're good. Like, you can buy it. Like, you have enough to buy it and then, like, still be good. And she's like, I've never had a moment where he was like, no, you can't buy it. That means she has to have so much money because she's like, I buy whatever I want. She's like, so, but I've never heard, the moment that I hear that, no, you're not good, that's where I'm going to freak out. But I've never heard that, not once. I was like, oh my God. She has so much money that she can just buy whatever she wants and be okay. Baby, what are we doing? I mean, I'm going to sell my feet or something.
No.
What?
What do you mean, why?
Because look how much money she has.
So, you respect yourself.
I'm just joking. My feet, no one's gonna see me.
You respect yourself.
But no one's gonna know.
You respect yourself.
Okay, fine. I won't send my feet. I can, you know what I can do? I can, like, get pictures online and just send them like that.
No.
Okay. You want to sell your feet?
No.
No? I'm just joking, baby. I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, so that's what she does. And so I thought that was crazy. That was just a fun fact about her. So yeah, so that's Ash Trevino. That's it.
That's crazy.
That's all the story. I mean, there's a lot of little things here and there, but yeah, that's who Ash Trevino is. She's a little bit crazy. She's a crazy mom. Oh, she doesn't date inmate hoppers anymore now. She just dates minors. Well, they're not minors, but
younger boys.
Young boys.
Dang.
Overall, what do you think? What do you think of Ash Trevino? Would you date her?
No.
Okay. What do you think about her?
I feel like she needs Jesus.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that she thinks are okay, but aren't okay.
And she doesn't own up to it either.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of growing. I feel like I don't know. I can't get my head around somebody doing things like that, you know? Yeah. That's what I think about Ash Trevino.
Who would have known there's people out there that, like, she got famous because of that. Like, she's making, well, she's not making a lot of money, but she's making a good bit. Like, there was one time where she made like 12,000 on a live, on battling, in one day.
They gotta be able to know what to do with that money.
And that's the thing, is like all she does is just buys like Gucci bags, Louis Vuitton, and all this stuff, and then her kids, you know what her excuse was? Her excuse for her kids not having beds was because she can't go out into public because she's too famous and she's gonna get known or noticed. So she can't go without her security. And she told her mom to buy her the beds for the girls, and she hasn't done it. Those are your kids. You can buy it online.
You can.
Like, we're in 2020, what is it, 2025? You can buy it online now. There's no excuse. She's making so much excuses because she doesn't own up to her mistakes. Watch her comment on my video. She's gonna be hating on us, baby. And then we're gonna get famous.
We're gonna get 13,000.
We're gonna get 13,000. 1,000 more. But yeah, that's Ash Trevino. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed our podcast.
And stay tuned for our next podcast. And thank you for tuning in to
T
and E with a T.